Good evening. My name is Patrick Stevens. I'd like to welcome you to the candidate forum for the Sundance HOA Board of Directors. The format tonight is going to be an opening statement for 3 minutes, and that's going to start off with Don, myself, and then Larry. And then we're going to go into 5 questions, 2 minutes each, and we'll alternate who goes first on that. So Cindy is our moderator. She's going to be asking the questions and also giving us a 30-second warning. So first up, Don chose his name first. So actually, I chose your name, Don. So
don't accuse me. Good evening. I'm Don Fry, and I've lived in Sundance now for just a little over 3 years with my wife, Lori. I also have a daughter, son-in-law, and 3 grandchildren that live here in Sundance as well. I'm a current member of the HOA Board of Directors, and I feel like I've worked well with my fellow board members to make good decisions for our community, representing you, the homeowners, and it's been an honor to do so, and I'm asking your vote to be reelected for the next 2-year term. I've spent 30 years in sales working for the top 2 food manufacturers in the world, and during those years I've been responsible for managing employees as well as managing a number of multi-million-dollar categories for both of those companies. If I'm reelected, essentially my promise to all of you is that I'll represent the best interest of all the residents, doing so honestly and with the integrity that has made me a trusted partner with my personal and business associates. Thank you.
good evening. My name is Patrick Stevens, and I've lived here for 10 years with my wife, Mandy. And I'm currently a candidate for the HOA Board of Directors. I'd want to share with you an experience. A couple of weeks ago, I had the honor to travel to Sacramento with a couple of the HOA board members and the staff from PCM to lobby for certain rules, bills that could become laws that will eventually, or could affect your pocketbook. And one of them I want to touch upon is there's a bill that will allow any member of the association to essentially become a board member without any previous qualifications. So, one of the things that I, as your board member, would like to do is definitely a soft background check, a financial background check to make sure that your finances are in order and that there's no previous criminal activity and that sort of thing. I believe that as a board member, that's one way we can earn your trust, but as a board member, you need to get to know our character. And by having this forum that I've personally funded, I believe that this can help achieve that. 300 words on an application may not be good enough sometimes. For the past 3 years, I personally I went back to school, achieved my bachelor's degree in communications and also a master's in public relations. And I feel that communication is a big part of our board meetings that needs to be improved. The current structure of the agenda of not allowing homeowners to talk for consent items, which is where your board members, the directors, spend your money. That's when they decide on contractual items. So I've asked a couple of times to have public comments during those items which have been denied. So as a board of director, that's one thing that I'm going to advocate for. Other items, I've also offered to record the meetings for free for the board meetings, and that has also been denied. So I want to continue to fight for that, to offer that for the homeowners. That will allow those who cannot make it due to time constraints, or those that maybe have a fear of closed spaces or of public spaces, or that have just any sort of restrictions to be able to get that meeting into their lives so they can help make better decisions. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Larry Church. I'm on the board of directors right now, running for re-election. I have lived in Sundance for the past 9 years with my wife, my 2 daughters. When it comes to experience, I am a Marine Corps veteran. In the 6 years I spent in the Marine Corps, I was in charge of multi-million-dollar hazmat accounts covering 13 different squadrons and 144 different helicopters. After that, I have been in the real estate industry for the past 13 years, helping out real estate agents buy homes, sell homes, and informing them of information about those properties. And actually, in the past 2 years, I've actually had opportunity to talk to agents about the HOA here, about helping them out, some of the things that we do here as an HOA. For the past 2 years, I've been the vice president of the HOA, and it is my joy to be able to serve the community and just be here and do what I can to help out the community. Thank you.
In your opinion, give 3 cons and 3 pros for having an HOA.
I don't know that I can come up with 3 cons, but I can definitely come up with 3 pros. This is a community of 2,005 homes. I feel that it's, very important to have something that manages our CC&Rs so that my neighbor or your neighbor or the neighbor down the street doesn't decide that they want to, paint their home purple and park, 6 cars on their lawn and, just feel that, I understand we want to be able to do what we want to be able to do in our own homes, but when it affects those living around them, I think that you need a managing force to enforce the rules as they are. I think, with the facilities that we do have, the landscaping that the HOA takes care of and pays for the upkeep, I think that any of us that live in the city can, come into our community and see a very marked difference between the way that the HOA landscape and grounds are kept up in comparison to the typical Beaumont work or lack thereof. And quite honestly, I think that there's the fiduciary responsibilities of the HOA to make sure that we are solvent, to make sure that we have funds in reserve for unforeseen circumstances and things that may come up that, that you really can't plan for. One of the cons is probably the fact that we do have rules that we need to enforce, and that isn't always looked upon favorably by everyone, particularly those that are having the rules enforced in a way that they don't necessarily agree with. Thank you.
Could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. In your opinion, give 3 cons and 3 pros for having an HOA.
Absolutely. Some of the pros, number one, is keeping the home values up. We went through a small recession in 2008, 2009, about the time when I bought, and we saw a lot of dilapidated front yards and that sort of thing. So there is a time when the HOA can step in and help clean those yards and keep it presentable, especially during those times. And that kind of, keeping the home values up, and that kind of leads to my other one of, being a lot cleaner, a lot more presentable for those values, and also a sense of community. We a lot of us have children and family members, and there's a big age range as well in the community, and just to have that sense and quality of life that we all try to strive for. Some of the cons, there could be wasteful spending on contracts that haven't been properly reviewed, and also we're governed by state regulations, like what we just talked about when I mentioned in my opening statement about Sacramento and the state coming down with different laws that could affect us, and we have to comply. So it's our having the other con is perhaps having knowledgeable, educated, and qualified candidates to make sure that that we fall under those regulations and support the community.
Question again, please.
In your opinion, give 3 cons and 3 pros for having an HOA.
I don't think there's a lot of cons per se. I'm in the real estate industry, so I see a lot of different HOAs out there. I can tell you with our HOA, some of the pros is keeping the value up of the homes, making sure that they do not get dilapidated, that the painting's good, that the shutters are still the same color, that all the houses keep their value up. Another sense is the community. I can tell you, I know of HOAs in Yucaipa, I know of HOAs in Redlands that don't do the things that we do for a community for our residents. The Summertime in Sundance, the Easter egg hunt, the movies in the park, all these things that we do as a community to come together and enjoy each other's time, enjoy each other's company. I think that is a pro. Con-wise, I think really the only cons, okay, so one of the cons, I think, it's not really a con, but it's sad to see that we have 2,005 houses with a average of 3 to 5 people per house, and we don't see the involvement when it comes to these meetings like we're having today, or our town hall meetings, or our board meetings. I think that's a real kind of like to see that kind of pick up and have more people get more involved, more people for the committees, more people for the special things that we have to help out with this community. So, thank you.
What talents or expertise do you think you can bring to the board?
I've worked in government for over 15 years, and I've personally witnessed and participated in, I'm going to say hundreds of meetings. It's probably closer to 1,000 or over 1,000 meetings. I know how a meeting should operate and should run. That's one thing that I will bring to the table as your next board of director. Working in the government as a public servant, and my style of leadership is that of a servant leadership. That means you come first. The homeowners come first. I serve them first, and bring those needs to the board. Also, with servant leadership, you bring people up. You bring their skills and knowledge up, and that's what I want to do is bring that back to the homeowners, share with them, and use my public relations and communication skills to also, to bring to the homeowners.
What talents or expertise do you think you can bring to a board?
Does juggling count? I mentioned in my intro that I did spend 6 years in the Marine Corps, so I have the leadership of being in the Marines, and also being in charge of multi-million-dollar accounts, supplying squadrons with necessary materials. I'm in the real estate industry as well right now, where I have kind of a thumbprint on what's going on in the industry and what's going on with the real estate community. Along with that, I think that's a lot in itself. So, thank you.
I'm going to go ahead and try and do it from memory. As far as, talents, I can't juggle, so Larry's got me there. But as many years as I've spent in sales, I think negotiation is a strong suit on my part. And I think that I can very calmly and most of the time rationally look at whatever is presented and see both the pros and the cons from it. I'm more than willing and able to work with the other board members or with the homeowners to try and, resolve issues to at least to help pacify everyone or to come up with an outcome that will work out best. I'm also great at not taking no for an answer, so there's been numerous times in board meetings, both executive as well as general session, where I may not be the most favorite individual in the room or ask the most favorite question, but I'm more than happy to ask it in a different way or see if we can't come to some kind of a mutual understanding on things. Thanks.
What is your past experience in working in a group problem-solving situation?
Group problems, I hate to keep bringing up my time in the Marine Corps. That's all we do is solve problems. If something's broken, you fix it in a group setting. You come together as a group and you come up with the best idea, and then you fix it. Along with that, I am in a group setting right now with my work. I have a few people underneath me, and as a group, we come together and come up with ideas about, best sale tactics, best ways to get in front of clients. So those are two of my examples. So, thank you.
All right. Unlike Larry, in my current job position, I don't have anybody underneath me. I have a whole lot of people above me, and a number of them that do essentially what I do, just for different parts of the business. And we're always challenged to get to a number or to get to a conclusion as a team. We're all individuals doing our part of it, but if I succeed and my peers do not, then the company doesn't. So I've had to work for many years as a team member to make sure that not just my aspirations or my goals are met, but that my teams as well as the companies. And again, going back to working with this board, it's a very we've had a great working relationship with the board that's in place, and it's not that we all always agree on everything, but we all are able to come to a conclusion that we feel works best for the community, and whenever we leave the room, we leave as friends. So thank you.
Repeat the question, please.
What is your past experience in working in a group problem-solving situation?
My wife would say that, I say that I'm a behind-the-scenes type of person. My wife says, no, you do fine in front of camera, but, the point is, as a video production director and multi-camera shoots for live events, that's a very stressful situation. You have many different, you're being pulled in many different ways. You have the director of the facility, your client, your crew that you have to direct. And some of the clients that I've had is the Mrs. United States pageant, the Mrs. Earth International pageants, both in DC and Vegas. And being pulled in different directions, I enjoy the stress, the immediate stress of that. It's very highly intense situation. But then afterwards, when it's all said and done, you've done a successful job, then you can relax and you have that down. But pulling crew together and coordinating with all those different entities is what I do. It's my specialty, making sure I'm the liaison for the hotel or the venue, working with the client, making sure the production goes on time, and then ending on time, making sure everyone got their advertisements in, and go from there. Thank you.
Would you rather be the coach or a team player?
I'd much rather be a team player. I, I've managed people, I've managed accounts, I've managed baseball teams, and quite honestly, my management style has always been to put myself in the place of the people that I'm managing, and so I'd rather get out there and roll my sleeves up and dig in and be part of the group. And I think that's just, that's my personality, and I think that's where I've excelled at, as opposed to, some of the leaders that I've worked for over the years have been tremendous and, great mentors. Some of them not so great, but I much prefer to be the team player. Thanks.
Repeat the question, please.
Would you rather be the coach or a team player?
So as a servant leader, you're really both. You're both the coach and the team player. You have to bring up your team to a level where they can now become the master or even back you up in certain situations. Currently, my day job at the County of Riverside as the media coordinator, it's a very small team, but I have to make sure that everyone is knowledgeable in what I do. Running the boardroom, running all the audio visual equipment. And I'm working with an individual right now who has expressed to me that, I don't know as much as you, you have all the ideas, but no, every time I bring him in, I share. I ask his ideas. What do you think? What can we do to make this better? What can we do to make this an easier process to eliminate points of failure? And that model as a servant leader, putting the Board of Supervisors' needs, putting the company's needs first, and collaborating, you are both the coach and the team player. Thank you.
I'm gonna make you ask it again. Sorry.
Would you rather be the coach or a team player?
I would definitely rather be a team player. I've worked for coaches that aren't really great coaches. I work with a team now, and we are more successful as a team coming together, sharing ideas, sharing what we know works and doesn't work, and then succeeding from there versus having somebody say, do this, do that, do this. We got to do it this way, we got to do it that way, because usually that doesn't work a lot of the times. So I'm definitely more of a team player, and just kind of coming together, putting our, God's gray matter he gave us and working together and getting things done. So thank you.
What is your 5-year plan for our HOA?
A 5-year plan for the HOA. Currently, we've gone out of the recession. We're building the community back up in that sense. Home values are going up. Making sure that we have enough reserves for another slump if that was on the horizon. I'm not a financial projection or economist, but some say that there could be another slump coming up. So definitely making sure that there's enough finances on the books for that, and just making sure the community feeling that that safe place, that quality of life that we all want, not only in the greater Beaumont area, but in our Sundance area. We have the opportunity with the members to share that quality of life. Thank you.
What is your 5-year plan for our HOA?
So at this point, I have to make sure I make a distinction between being on the board and my hopes of what I would like to see. So what I'm going to say has anything to do with what the board has going on right now, or any future plans. This is just how I would like to see the HOA turn out, and that's to do more for the community, and do more for charities in the community. Doing 5K runs for charity, coming together more as a charity, and then keeping our beautiful community the way it is. I know some people don't like certain landscapings, or some people don't like certain desert landscapings, but that is what was purchased when they bought the house, and just to keep our communities nice and clean and looking beautiful, and just just keep the community, on an upward swing. So, thank you.
I want to go ahead and make the same distinction that Larry did in, talking as a homeowner and not as a board member. But something that was said earlier, I mean, one of my hopes for a 2-year plan, 5-year plan, 10-year plan would be to see more involvement with the HOA, whether it be board meetings, whether it be the town halls, whether it be something as important as electing your next board of directors. Again, with 2005 homes, it would be nice to see more than 4 or 5 people showing up to voice their concerns or to voice their pleasure or whatever it is. I think that the HOA does a great job with the community events. I would would hope to see that continue. And again, having grandchildren that live in the community, I would like to see that the community continues to stay, as enjoyable and as beautiful of a community, and offer the opportunities to my grandchildren 5 years down the road or 10 years down the road that we're all able to enjoy at this point. Just a quick wrap up. Again, as I said in my opening, I've enjoyed my time on the board of directors. I would hope to have the opportunity to serve again, but if that doesn't happen, I will still be a voice in the community and will certainly show up to the meetings as I did before I was on the board. For those of you that do have the opportunity to see this and maybe you weren't able to come this evening, there will be another one on May the 8th, more of a question and answer period, a town hall forum type of a thing, here again at Chatney at 6 o'clock. Please feel free to come out and, ask questions of the people that at least 2 of them will end up representing you for the next 2 years. So thank you again.
I personally had a lot of fun. I enjoyed this evening. I think I hope I set a precedence for future elections to have this type of a structured format to really express and gain your trust as a homeowner. A couple of the things that I want to bring to the table, I hope maybe can be answered May 8th on the town hall. That can be more of a relaxed setting and one-on-one question and answer if the homeowners feel that they want to do that. Definitely welcome that. Again, thank you for those that are in attendance, and thank you to Don and Larry also for attending and answering the questions. They've served the board well, and I hope that I've gained your trust and for the election in June. Thank you.
In closing, I just wanted to remind everybody and let everybody know that we are volunteers on the board. Those of us that are being elected to be on the board as a volunteer, and that we are your neighbors. We have as much vested interest in this community as you do, and in that spirit, we want to make sure that this community stays or gets better, stays as good as it is or gets better. And I appreciate Patrick and Don for coming in today. I look forward to hopefully being reelected, and thank you for having us here tonight.